Let's dive in on that. So the topic that we're talking about personas. So
Mhm.
personas are type of customers, people. Who are they? Yeah. What do they care about? What do they love about your brand? How are you going to attract them? What would you consider a persona to be?
Well, so historically, we've described customer segmentation was the historical term, and we would basically describe them in sort of broad strokes based on about 100 years or so worth of traditional marketing approaches. So we've used typical demographic breakdowns like age, education, disposable income, where they're physically located, and we've sort of used those terms to give us a broad sense of how we would break down our audiences. And I'll give you an example: the primary grocery buyer. This particular persona typically is a woman between the ages of roughly, say, 25 and 40. So it covers a couple of different age demographic splits. She typically has 2.2 kids, very time poor. A bit of a split on whether or not she's working or not. Historically, she was a stay-at-home mom. Now, as we get to some more modern times, she may or may not have a job. But the great thing about the digital side of things is that it's given us so much richer data sets to pull, and it's given us the ability to really take our storytelling of how we describe our customers into far more detail than what we could historically. And that's a little bit to do with stuff like Google Analytics, but mostly where it comes of great value to us is the social media side of things, because it allows us to capture interest-based segmentation. So we understand, what our audiences like to do, what their hobbies are, what their friends like to do, what kind of activities they like to do. And it really builds a richer story around our customers. So the idea of customer segmentation has now allowed us to break down our consumers into what we now call personas. Typically, they're basically, when I teach my students at Swinburne, I usually basically tell them, tell a story about your customer. Choose a photo, give them a name, give them a background story. So you might have the primary grocery, but you might have Julie, who's 32 years old. She's a junior executive at an advertising agency. She's got 2 kids. She's very, very short on time. She wakes up in the morning. She's cooking breakfast for the kids. She's also making them lunch. Her husband is in the bathroom getting ready for work. He's obviously no help with the kids. She's making sure the kids get off to school and is constantly rushing so she can get to work as well. And that story develops over the course of a day. And you basically tell an entire story. You get a sense of who she is as a real person and not just a number on a piece of paper. That's the general gist of how personas are developed.